I'm recreating these 3 shots from Blade Runner 2049. I've already done these 2, so we just have 1 more to go. We know they filmed this shot in a studio like this, but all I have is my garage. So we're going to build this as a miniature set in my garage, then composite it with real people and VFX. We did this with the other 2, so it's time to see if we can do it with all 3. And we can start by breaking this shot down into 3 parts, starting with the miniature. Don't worry, this one won't be as big as the last one. I hope. But the miniature is only part of it. We'll need to make a lot of this background in Photoshop and then composite it with the miniature to get the full city. Then we need someone to be Ryan Gosling. We'll have to film an actor separately to put them into the miniature, matching camera placement and lighting, and then compositing and blending them into the final shot. And that's the easy part. We still have the giant Joy hologram. We'll film the actress in a similar way, but she'll need to be in a bikini. We'll need to make her pink, and then composite her to look like a projection in the miniature set. All this during winter in my freezing garage. And speaking of winter, there was one last thing.
The National Weather Service has issued a snow emergency for the
working hard to clear roadways
for further updates as the storm progresses.
Oh, jeez. You've probably already seen part 2 of this series. But if you haven't, you absolutely should. It's gonna be on the screen somewhere. But we were still shooting when the blizzard hit, and the last shot we needed was from outside. But we're running out of time for this whole project, so we decided to begin on shot 3. Yeah, we're doing 2 shots at the same time. Since the first step is building a miniature, we can stay inside. We'll just need to work around the other miniature. But let's break this miniature down into parts, starting with the ground. We obviously need to build some sort of raised platform, but this platform is covered in cement. And since this is a miniature, we can't use real cement. The texture would be too big. When we recreated the Batman, we had the same problem. And we discovered that sandpaper painted black made for excellent miniature asphalt. So we'll do the same here. This platform is also wet, but rather than use water, wood finish will give us the reflections without evaporating. Next is the railing, which we built by sticking wooden dowels together with hot glue and then painted them black. But the railing illustrates an issue with building miniatures. Notice how this is more out of focus than this? That's due to something called depth of field, which is the difference between the area that's in focus and out of focus. The closer something is to the camera, the more shallow the depth of field. And with miniatures, everything is closer to the camera. But we can close the aperture to get a deeper depth of field. The only issue being that makes everything darker, so we're going to need a lot of light later. Then there are the girders.
Girders?
Yeah, the metal beams. They're called girders, right? Have you ever heard that before?
I have never heard that.
Girders. Yeah. That's totally a girder. These are girders. Yeah, girders. 2 thin pieces of wood with a square dowel in the middle, all painted black. Done. Then there's this car in the background. We're going to use our old miniature Batmobile for that, and then we gotta build this platform out of cardboard. But that's where we stopped, actually. The sun came out, so we put a pause on shot 3 and finished up shot 2. And then I had a lot of editing ahead of me. It's 3 a.m. and I've been editing all night, basically. We're planning on shooting tomorrow, but I can't do stuff tomorrow. The video isn't done yet. Now, let's go check the progress then. I don't necessarily have to be there. I began my filmmaking journey mostly alone, which meant I had to learn how to do everything by myself. So now, one thing I'm really bad at is delegation. I'm generally heavily involved in everything when it comes to these videos. That's why they all take so long. So not being a part of things downstairs made me kind of nervous. But as the day went on, I started to feel a little bit better. And after all, I had a video that needed to get done. So I had no choice but to edit. Yeah, this is a little over the top, but it felt like a really big deal on the day.
So you basically had to do the whole, like, the build by yourself. What was that? What was that like?
Well, it was a fairly easy process, to be completely honest. I basically stacked one piece of cardboard on top of the other.
That's it?
Yep.
I'm really glad to have a team who has my back when it comes to filmmaking. But what about when using the internet? Well, that's where NordVPN comes in, which is today's video partner. I'm constantly needing to find and download content from the internet when making these videos. But any of those downloads could come with malware, potentially stealing or destroying all my data. It's okay though. I mean, not okay, but with NordVPN, my data is safe. With threat protection, I'm warned if I enter a page known for fraud, and any files I download are scanned for malware before it can cause damage to my device. So NordVPN is great for real-world security reasons, but I'm a filmmaker, so I watch a lot of movies. And by selecting a server in a different country, I can have access to movies or TV shows I wouldn't have otherwise. Wait a sec, is Blade Runner 2049 anywhere? Yeah! Well, I know what I'm gonna be watching tonight. You can keep yourself safe online by clicking the link in my description or going to nordvpn.com/whbaker. And if you purchase a 2-year plan, then you'll receive 4 bonus months of security. That is the best deal for NordVPN right now, so you're not gonna wanna miss it. If it's not for you, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click the link in the description or go to nordvpn.com/whbaker. Now, let's go check on the progress that Paul has made and film this miniature. Oh, wow. There's a lot of change. We're going to need our miniature shot and full-scale shots to line up perfectly in order for this to work. So the things we'll need to pay attention to are camera position and lens choice. So before we built anything, we did tons of shot testing and took measurements to make sure we built the miniature right. Because we don't want to wait till it's all done to know we did it all wrong. Unlike with the last 2 shots. This meant also testing a few focal lengths to make sure we had the right one. Fortunately, Dizio Film sent me out their Artlist primes to use for this whole project. Every recreation and a lot of what you've seen in these videos has been shot on the Artlist primes. Most of the set has a high aperture of t1.4, so they're great for low light, and they give a cleaner, sharper image than other lenses I've used. Dizio also has a set of 10 focal lengths, and after some testing, we thought the 25mm was likely the closest to the original. Once we had the miniature built, we could check it, and I think that's pretty close. But we're still going to need to light it. We have this behind-the-scenes image of how they lit the shot to guide us, and it looks like they're using a big LED screen to get the pink light. Then in post, they replace it all. But on a miniature scale, we can use a light like an Amaran F22C. It's a 2-foot by 2-foot flexible LED panel, which looks like a massive LED screen in front of the miniature. That's not the only light in the scene though. There are also lights here on the side of the platform. Paul made this platform out of cardboard earlier, and rather than put 3 tiny lights on it, Paul cut 3 slits into the cardboard, then stuck an LED tube through it. And on camera, it looks like 3 tiny lights. But there's something missing. In the original, there's sort of a bluish glow silhouetting the entire set. That's coming from these LED tubes, which then got replaced. So for us, we'll instead add an Amaran T4C and Pt.3 to the floor behind the set. The reason we get a glow is because of haze, which we filled the room with earlier. But there was an issue with this. Now we could see the end of our set really clearly, whereas the set in the original looks like it goes on forever. So I tried something different. I used an Amaran Ace in the background to try and illuminate the last few inches of the miniature. This helped blend the grounded sky together, so it was harder to see where the set ended. But since it clearly looks like there's a light right there, we'd only use this small area in the final shot, and then composite it with the shot of the light off. In fact, compositing is how we'll really accomplish this whole shot. We'll film it all in multiple passes, use Photoshop to create a clean plate without the F22C, then use stock images to create the cityscape background, blend it all together, and we have our miniature completed.
Oh, this is atrocious. We'll need to,
Don't be so hard on yourself. I think it's lovely.
Now we need to tackle the Joy hologram. And despite how well the wig works on me, we're gonna need an actress. The main thing I've been concerned about with this shot is the costume. Or more accurately, the lack thereof. Yeah. But we paid close attention to this shot and noticed how the actress was positioned in such a way that could conceal a two-piece swimsuit. But like the rest of the project, this is happening in my garage. My non-insulated, in the middle of winter, extremely cold garage. We have to do something about that. I bought this space heater for all the work we're doing in the garage, but without insulation, it doesn't really heat up the space. So we'll set it up right next to our actress. We'll have a blanket on standby, a comfy place for her to crouch, and make sure she takes breaks inside the house to warm up. But we still need an actress. Someone who's willing to wear a bikini, freeze in my garage, and all with a few days' notice. And we found Mia.
Paul sent me a picture of Will wearing the blue wig yesterday.
Oh, it's so great, actually.
I look ridiculous. The wig needed some work.
I feel like this is what you should do, but I don't know.
Doesn't look that terrible on the phone.
Like getting it straightened out.
Okay, that's working.
And the bangs needed to be trimmed. But one step at a time. Let's talk about how to film this. Just like they did, we're going to set up a green screen and film this all separately from the miniature. To light it, we're going to use the Amaran F22C again, but throw a shower curtain in front of it to soften it even more. It'll work fine that this light is in frame since we're going to cut out everything but the actress. And then we'll color grade her skin to be pink. The costume for Mia was taking some time. Her real hair needed to be pinned down, her tattoos covered up, and her eyebrows colored blue. So while they took care of that, we focused on giving Mia an eyeline. When doing VFX like this, it's important for the actor to know where to look, and in this case, where to point. That way, everything matches up later. So we wrapped a tennis ball in gaff tape to avoid neon reflections and stuck it on a dowel at the right height for a miniature Ryan Gosling. After a few tests, we were finally ready to shoot. Oh, right, yeah, we had to shoot that one too. Recreating shots from movies requires the actors to be very deliberate about what they do.
a little more telling him like he looks lonely.
And forces me to be very particular when trying to direct them.
Keep leaning forward just a little bit.
Okay.
Go again.
You look lonely.
Everything we do is precisely copying the original.
That was perfect.
Okay.
I've been doing recreations for about 2 years now, and I've seen a lot of comments saying that I should do my own original thing. And honestly, I agree. I'm not done with recreations altogether, but I do think it's time to try something new.
That's great. I'm cutting. I think we've got it.
For now though, here are the 3 recreations from Blade Runner 2049, all done by building miniatures in my garage. Subscribe to see what we do next.